What's up, you sexy beast? What's up, everybody? Benji Bruce here with speakinglifestyle.com. And in this video, I just want to talk about how do you build credibility in a way, credibility on camera, to get your audience to just come back for more, to keep coming back to you. Now, a lot of people, when they think in terms of building credibility is, oh, let me tell my story. I just got to tell my story. And this is like one of the worst ways to build credibility, to be honest, because it's really boring. The way most people do it, they do it in a really, really boring way. So it's like, let's say they step on a stage or on a camera or something. They're like, okay, everybody, so I'm going to teach you how to blah, blah, blah. But before we get into that, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was once born and then they go into this story. You're like, I don't care. And people, they're just thinking the whole time, they're thinking, okay, stop with that, get to the damn point. So a lot of times when you tell your story, especially when you do it in a boring way, it does the exact opposite in terms of building the credibility. So how exactly do you build the credibility? The number one way to build credibility is you show it, you don't tell it. See, a lot of people, when they're telling their story, they're telling it. What you want to do is you want to show it. And what I mean by showing it is you want to think about what's around you, like what's everything else that's happening. So if I'm trying to build credibility, actually no, let's say perfect example, if you know who Grant Cardone is, perfect example is someone like Grant Cardone. If you look at his videos, you will see, okay, he's got a private jet. You'll see his office with all the employees. Like you see the credibility. Now, of course, I think he still talks about it, but you see it. Even someone like, let's say Gary Vaynerchuk, you see the credibility, you see his employees that he has, and like you see the stuff, you see him traveling here and there, like, oh, dude's traveling everywhere. You see the credibility rather than him having to tell you about it. Or someone like Tony Robbins, you see this guy, he's on a stage with thousands of people in the audience. You see the credibility. So what you want to think about is you want to think about like what's going on around you. I remember a while ago when I used to just perform as an entertainer, this was going on in the back of my mind in terms of the credibility factor, right? So an event, they contacted me and they said, look, we want to hire you for this event, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be at this hotel, and it was a local hotel. And they were saying it was going to be like in the restaurant section. And they rented out the restaurant thing. Now me thinking from a marketing perspective, I'm thinking, because I'm going to record the whole situation, right? I'm going to record it, but I'm thinking, it's not gonna look good, like me performing in like a restaurant type of setting. Even though they're paying me a lot of money, I was thinking like it's not gonna look good on camera when other people look at it. It's gonna look like just some dude performing in a restaurant. So I actually asked him, I said, hey, I actually know the GM of that hotel. If I were able to get it switched from the restaurant to one of their ballrooms, would you be willing to do that? Because I knew that, hey, if I could get the setting of a ballroom setting versus a restaurant setting, the credibility factor would be better because of the environment. So that's kind of what I mean by paying attention to what's going on around you if you want to do the show, don't tell type of thing. The Frank Sinatra sentence. This is something that I just came up with in terms of building credibility, because think about what Frank Sinatra said, his famous saying of, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And he was talking about New York. Like when you come to New York as an entertainer and you can make it there, he's like, look, if you're good enough to make it here, you can make it anywhere. And I thought about this in terms of like building credibility, mostly like through, we were talking about like cold emailing and stuff, but that's a whole other thing. Basically, the Frank Sinatra sentence is, how do you build credibility? Like what can you say in one sentence, one or two sentences that will build instant credibility? Whether you're on camera, whether you're on a stage, doesn't matter where, but what can you say in one or two sentences that'll build instant credibility for your audience? So let's say I come on camera, I say, look guys, what's up everybody? Benji Bruce here. I'm gonna show you exactly how we do 6 figures a month with our brand. Boom, instant credibility. You're like, oh, well, okay, shoot. Or let's say I'm a real estate agent. Let's say I built a 7-figure real estate business. And I say, hey, everybody, what's up? Benji Bruce here. Hey, what's up? Realtor Benji Bruce here. I'm going to show everyone here how I built this 7-figure real estate business. I'm going to show you guys, you realtors, what you need to do as well. Boom, instant credibility. I don't have to go into my whole story and all that sort of stuff. I've already built credibility. Now, if let's say you didn't make all the money or whatever, you could just talk about a client. You could just say like, hey everybody, Benji Bruce here. I'm going to show you how we got Pepsi as a client. Boom, instant credibility. So you want to think in terms like what can you say in one or two sentences that'll just build instant credibility. How you talk actually builds credibility. So if you are talking in a confident way, boom, instant credibility. People say, oh, Dude must know what he's talking about because of the way he's talking. We are naturally attracted to charisma, to the confidence. When people talk in a confident way, we just assume they know what it is they're doing, what it is they're talking about, and then we just follow them. You also want to think in terms of, can you go into detail? People who can go into detail with what it is they're saying, they tend to know what they're saying. People who can't describe what they're doing, they don't know what they're doing. So all you have to do is pay attention to how people talk. And this is one of the ways I actually pay close attention to whether or not to listen to somebody, whether or not they can actually go into detail, or whether or not they just stay in the basics. If they kind of stay in the basics, let's say someone's talking about doing outreach, cold emailing or something. And they say like, yeah, you got to reach out and cold email and all that. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, that's very basic. Anybody could have said it. A freaking 5-year-old could have learned that and said it. On the other hand, if the person starts saying, look, you want to set up your CRM, get the lead score set up, get your sales cadence set up, now you're thinking like, oh, snaps. Now they go into a level of detail where it's like, okay, this person must know what it is they're talking about. And in fact, I think like Google, let's see. Well, I'm sure like a lot of companies do it, but like Google, I know for sure they do it because I have a friend who interviewed for Google. What they do is they like go into detail, and they keep going into detail until they get you to a point where you can't go any further, because they know a lot of stuff. So they're saying like, well, what do you know about this type of coding? And you say, well, I know it. I'm diggity. You say, okay, well, what about this? And then they ask you some specific question that layman wouldn't know. Oh, well, what about this? They go into detail. The more detail they get into, the more they realize that you know. So how you talk actually builds credibility. I made my entire entertainment business based on this one thing I just put up two, but this one thing made up my entire entertainment business, and that is social proof. Social proof is one of the most powerful ways to build credibility. It's ridiculous. Because when it comes to credibility, you got to remember this. People don't really believe you. Like if you are promoting your business, people don't believe you. Of course, you're going to say you have the answers to all their problems. Of course, you're going to say that. Hey, I can help you make $1 gazillion. Hey, I can help you. Of course, you're going to do that. But what people are thinking about is like, one, did you get the results? And then two, like, did you get other people to the results as well? So did you help other people get those results? So what social proof is doing is showing, yes, you got results for all these other people. Because what that's going to do is now going to show that person watching, hey, I can get those results too. So it's not just, oh, it worked for him. It worked for all these people. And so that's what social proof is doing. So social proof, you're just demonstrating the results that you've gotten for other people. Now, there's a right way and a wrong way to do this. So if you want to look at the wrong way to do it, just look at like 99% of realtors. Go to Instagram, type in real estate, realtor or whatever. Look at how they do their Instagram. They post pictures of houses. They're like sold, sold, sold. And they post all these pictures of houses. What they should be doing, they should be recording their clients, and the client should be saying stuff like, oh man, Benji was our realtor, and he sold our house like within 2 weeks. He responds really, really quick to all of our calls, our text messages. I mean, the guy's like on the ball with everything. That type of thing is a lot better than just a picture of a house where it just says sold. And so you want to think in terms of how you're doing this social proof. The social proof is more about storytelling. It's kind of like you're telling the story of this client, of where they were to where they are now. Where they were, aka the problem that they have and the person watching has, the problem, where they are now, aka where this person could be if they worked with you. So that's kind of what it is you're doing with social proof if you want to build credibility. Let me get back. Let's go back a little bit when I said telling your story is like one of the wackest ways to build credibility. Telling your story, it does build credibility if you do it right. Very few people do it right. They do it in a boring way. You do want to tell your story, but you tell your story only as it relates to them. That's what you're doing. So if let's say, so I'm not a realtor, right? I'm not a realtor, but if I go speak at a real estate event, I'm not gonna talk about me as an entertainer just to talk about it, because they're thinking, well, what the hell does that have to do with me? Okay, cool. You built a massive entertainment business. Okay, so how do I build my real estate company? So that's what they're thinking about. On the other hand, if I were to say like, look, I built this real estate business, or I built this entertainment business, I was reaching out. I had to reach out. The same way you guys as a realtor, you have to reach out to people, do cold calls and all that sort of stuff. You got to reach out to get business. I had to reach out. And man, it sucked. So many people said no. You're going to come across as a real estate agent. You're going to come across a lot of people who are going to tell you no. You're going to cold call. They're going to hang up on you. You're going to cold call. They're going to threaten you with a lawsuit because they were on the do not call list. You're going to have all this stuff happen. So like, if I were to tell my story into how it relates to them, people are going to pay attention. Then I'll build credibility. But if you just tell your story, nobody's going to pay attention to your ass. And the ultimate way to build credibility on camera is really just to produce a ton of good content. That's really it. If you produce a ton of good content, you're naturally going to build credibility over time. The thing is, what's considered good content? I don't think anybody produces bad content on purpose. Nobody comes out with content saying, I'm going to do a live stream. I'm going to make a YouTube video. I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to make it suck. I'm going to make it suck so nobody pays attention. I don't think anybody really does that. So you got to remember that producing good content is what's going to get people to come back to you. So you have to really think about how good your content actually is. And you have to like truly look at it from like a distance. Like you gotta be aware. I mean, you gotta truly like understand in terms of, are you really good on camera? I mean, do you need more energy or what? Or maybe like better editing? Like what exactly do you need? Of course, you can build it over time. Like you're not gonna start out really good. You're gonna start out with okay content or whack ass content, some bad content, and then over time you're gonna keep creating. You're gonna get naturally better at it with the editing, the presenting, all sort of stuff. But if you want to build credibility, you gotta create good content. There's no way around that. If you like the video, make sure you subscribe, you like it, you comment on it. If you got any questions or anything like that, you just got to remember that when it comes to building credibility on camera, people are going to come back to you if they think you're worth it. That's what it comes down to.